on News Radio 1120 KPNW.
Okay, we briefly, a little bit ago, kind of got into the subject of the Cover Oregon's website and Obamacare, and taking a more, I guess you would say, 50,000-foot view. Joining us on the wake-up call this morning is HR consultant Paul Bazell on the wake-up call. Yesterday it was announced, Paul, first off, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate being here.
And we appreciate you having you. Okay, so yesterday another major retailer, Target, has announced now that it is going to be cutting its health coverage for its part-time workers in response to changes stemming from Obamacare. The company is joining Home Depot and Trader Joe's so far in deciding to dump their part-time employee coverage to save on their health care costs. So I'm just curious, as you look at this, how many companies, and I'm talking about major companies, do you think are going to do this? And are any of them at this point looking at their full-time employees as opposed to just the part-time employees as far as getting rid of their insurance?
I can speak from our client standpoint. All options are on the table. These are business decisions. They've become business decisions in some cases, like with Target and the other named companies you've mentioned, and companies that are a lot smaller than the companies that you've mentioned. The choices that they have to make it's a choice of the least worst. They're just trying to make the best choice that they possibly can amongst their bad choices in effort to manage their increasing health insurance costs.
Okay, but, I mean, the bottom line here is they're doing this to save money, right?
Well, in some cases, yes. In some cases, that's obviously a driving force in any business decision. But in other cases, it's not only a financial decision, but one of managing liability and all the penalties and so forth that comes with rules and regulations imposed by the government.
The Wall Street Journal recently had a report that they did that highlighted what they suggest is, and that is that a majority of people that are signing up for Obamacare already had insurance and may have only enrolled in the new exchanges because their previous policy was canceled. Is there anything that you've seen that proves that out in particular?
People are going to do what's best for themselves, first and foremost. I think that's a foregone conclusion, so no one should be surprised, including our government, with respect to what's going on here. Some even espouse that the government knew exactly what was going to transpire, and that this figures very conveniently into a push towards a single-payer healthcare system scenario. So if you believe that concept, then this is perhaps part of a much larger agenda, and nobody should be surprised about what's going on because people are going to do what's best for themselves. There is a contingent of people that really don't want health insurance. They're quite content with getting their coverage through their community health care systems, which you and I pay for, but cost them nothing. So all of the Obamacare requirements for having individual insurance, they object to it. They don't want any part of it. They don't care about the subsidies or the tax credits or any of that other stuff. As a result of that, the people that are signing up are people that are out looking for a better deal than what they have right now. And if they are already paying for insurance and the health insurance exchange is offering them a better deal, then that's what they're signing up for.
Okay, but talking about, for instance, Target, we mentioned was just one of them, Home Depot, Trader Joe's. Do we know that the insurance that they're getting now that they have been dumped by those particular companies is actually better than what they had with Target or Home Depot or Trader Joe's? Do we know that's better insurance? Is that the assumption? Or, what do we know about those insurance policies in general that we can say that?
I am not familiar with the exact benefit that was being offered to those part-time folks. Many companies that do offer health benefits to part-timers purchase a completely different program for them than they offer to their full-time employees. Sometimes the benefits are not as rich and not as comprehensive for the part-time workforce as it is for the full-time workforce. If that is the case here, then when these folks go out to the insurance exchange, they're going to find a much more comprehensive benefit, a much richer benefit, and they're also going to find a cost factor that goes right along with it.
All right. How many of these employees do we know? I mean, I'm assuming because they're part-timing that a lot of them are going to be eligible for subsidies. Is that the case or not?
The companies like Target that are first and foremost in line for deciding to get rid of their health care benefits are the companies that have a low-wage workforce. So generally speaking, I would say you could count on a large number of those part-time employees qualifying for a subsidy at some level.
Paul Bazell joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. He's an HR consultant. A new report out, too, by McKinsey & Company found that just 11% of the 2.2 million people who had enrolled in a state or a federal exchange through December were previously uninsured. Everyone else had coverage. What does that mean for the insurance companies who are counting on having a wider base of customers?
It would appear that the insurance companies got sold a bill of goods by our federal government, doesn't it? Here again, it almost seems to us, and I'm sure that if my peers were asked unanimously, our opinions would be the same, that what was being offered was predictable, and the outcome is probably a predictable failure in terms of getting the necessary population into the risk pool. That, too, figures very nicely into a move to a single-payer healthcare system, which would automatically take in everybody.
Paul Bazell is an HR consultant joining us on the Wake Up Call this morning. Paul, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. You have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. Appreciate being with you.
Take care.